Hey guys, welcome back to the homestead. It's been a few days since I've made a video, but I did record a lot of content. I just haven't edited it. I haven't put them up, but I took a few days off just to focus on family, doing some other things around the farm that I just didn't record. And the stuff I did record, I just took some time off from editing and publishing. But I'm back today because it's time to start the seeds for my summer garden, and I have to start all of my main seeds today. So I'm gonna start my tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, and then I'm gonna plot up some of my sweet potato slips that I showed you guys a couple videos ago, how to start those slips. They're now ready to be potted up. We still have about a month before our last frost date, so these guys will be inside under the light until I'm able to bring them out in the greenhouse. So let's get started. Let's pot up some of these and start some of our summer seeds. All right, here are all of the sweet potato slips that I grew a few weeks back, and I'm gonna start taking these out now because it's time to get these guys in some soil. I'm gonna plant all of them actually in one big container, and because they're just gonna grow in there for the next 3 weeks, and then we're gonna bring them outside and plant them in their permanent spot. So they just have to get planted right now and out of this water because the roots on these guys are so ready. So I'm just gonna take out the ones that I've already clipped off of the sweet potatoes. So we have a lot of them here. And if you don't know how to start your sweet potato slips, I made a video about how to do this about 3 or 4 videos ago. So just go back in my watch list and you'll find them all. I'm gonna leave these guys in here because they're still growing slips. This one is also growing some slips for me. So I'm just gonna add some more water. I'm gonna let these grow until the end of spring when we have no more frost, and then I can plant these directly in the ground. But here is my crop of slips. I still have another potato, the purple sweet potato, the actual sweet potato actually. I have some of those growing upstairs in the water, but they're just not quite big enough to snip off yet. So it's very simple how we're gonna do this. I have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and even these I can snip off probably and make 2 different plants, but you would have to put them back in the water until they grow the roots. So I'm gonna put these all in a container that I've already pre-filled with soil here, and then really all I'm gonna do is just plant them all in here. So I get as many of them in as I can because this is just a temporary pot for them until I'm able to plant them in their permanent spot. But I want to get them in soil because the roots are really well developed and they're just ready to go in. And if I was in a warmer climate like some of you are, you would just go ahead and plant these directly in the ground, or if you're planting them in pots, you would plant them directly in the pot. And I would probably do, like if I was doing a bigger pot than this, I would do 3 to 4 slips per pot. But this is just to hold them temporarily until I can get them in their permanent spot. I'm not exactly sure if I'm gonna put these in my new raised beds that we're gonna build, or if I'm gonna put them back in bigger pots, but I'll figure that out once I'm closer to the plant date for these. Okay, look at how nice that looks. And sweet potato slips also make a great indoor plant as well. Actually, you can keep this indoor, but every like 3 to 4 months you will have sweet potatoes in here. So what I do is I dig it all up, take the sweet potatoes, and then I can just plant the slips back in the pot and keep them by a window. They actually grow really well like that. All right, so that's done. I'm gonna give this a good drink of water. Actually, the last thing I wanna add in here is just a little bit of fertilizer. So I have the fertilizer here. This is Organic Advantage Lawn and Garden Fertilizer. It's 845, and I'm just gonna add maybe about a tablespoon or so in each of these containers because I've been growing these guys for quite a few weeks now and they need some food. I'm just gonna put in about a tablespoon or so. And I'm gonna really mix it in. Not too much because I don't want to burn these guys. Alright, that's pretty much done for the sweet potatoes. I'm gonna start my beets a little bit later. I have a bull's blood beet here, but I'm gonna start this a little bit later. I have this eggplant here. It's called Listada de Gandia eggplant. You can see that name there. So I'm gonna plant all of these. I'm gonna get some more purple peacock broccoli going because the broccoli, because it's a brassica, it can actually go out pretty much any time the plants are big enough to sustain a little bit of chill. So they can go out a little bit earlier than my regular summer crop. Same with the cabbage. I'm gonna plant some more of those because some of my starts didn't fully make it. So I'm just gonna get a bit more of those guys. I have a beefsteak tomato. My peppers, I collect pepper seeds from a few of my plants over the past few years. These are just red bell peppers. So let's start with some of our eggplant. I have these little plant trays here that I got from just some, when I went to the restaurant. They actually give you these takeout trays. And the great thing about it is that they have the lids that come with it that you can put the tray inside of the lid. I thought this would make a perfect little seed starting tray. So that's what I'm gonna do with some of my eggplant, peppers, and tomatoes. Be sure to poke some holes in the bottom of the trays before you fill them with soil. And I put the fertilizer way down at the bottom there, and then I fill it with more soil at the top. And this is seed starting mix, but you can definitely use potting soil here. So this is as simple as it is. And then in the tray, and we're just gonna pop little holes in there like that. And then just gently cover them up. See? It'll be perfect like that. So I'm gonna fill up my second tray. I have 2 of these here. Overfill it a little bit because once you get the water in here, the soil will sink a bit. So I always overfill them just a little bit like that. Here's my eggplant seeds. And it's still kind of chilly out where we are. Today is quite chilly. It's not that warm, but it's not freezing either. So I won't complain too much, but I like the really, really warm weather, so I wait for summer before I get too excited. I'm gonna do about 3 or 4 eggplants. And this year I'm collecting seeds from my eggplant and some of my tomatoes as well. I wanna try and collect a lot of the seeds for my veggies this year. I normally do collect quite a few seeds and keep them like I do here with the peppers. I have thousands of pepper seeds in here that I've collected over the past couple of years. So this is what I do. You can see I just put the seeds in like 3 or 4 seeds about 1 inch or 2 inches or so apart. And I have about 3 rows of the eggplant. And then all I'm gonna do is just sprinkle on a little bit of the soil over like that, and then just gently give it a little pat. Now I'm gonna write on the label so that I don't forget. So we're gonna put the Listada. So I've got my little plant label, and I showed you guys these in another video as well, how to create these little plant labels for free. So I have it right up to this spot right here is eggplant. Okay, and then on this side I can plant something else. This side I'm gonna plant the peppers. Just get a bunch in my hands, and then I put about 3 or so, about 2 inches apart in here. So what's the weather like where you are? Let me know in the comment section below what the weather is like where you are right now. For me, it's about, let me check my phone. I'll tell you the exact temperature. So today it is 2 degrees. So it actually feels colder today than it actually is outside. So it is kind of chilly. All right, peppers are in. And I did about 3 peppers per every 2 inches or so apart. Pretty much just as you would if you were doing these in cell packs. Same deal. And I'm just gonna cover it up with about 1/2 inch so of our soil. And then I'm gonna get the label on that says these are bell peppers. All right, so it's so simple how I did this. This side are the eggplants, and then this side I have the bell peppers. Super simple. You can label them however you'd like, however you can keep track of them. So that is all done. I just have to make sure I water this very gently with a very gentle mist so I don't shift the seeds around too much. And what you can do is pre-poke your holes as well. Okay, so I decided that in this one, I'm going to put some transplants for some peppers and some other vegetables that I've started a little while ago. So I'm gonna grab those now so that we can plant them in here. So here I have some seeds that I started in this tray a little while ago, and I'm gonna get these out. These are the tiny little cabbage starts. Just gonna pop them in here beside the broccoli, because these guys will be going out at the same time. So this tray will be all of my brassicas that will be going out probably in 2 weeks from now. These just have to grow a little bit bigger for me, and then we'll get them growing in the greenhouse for a few weeks. Okay, now I'm gonna finish planting the brassicas in this tray. Gonna move some of the soil over, and we're gonna do some more purple peacock broccoli and April green cabbage. All right. Now we're gonna plant some beefsteak tomatoes. And I got these seeds from the Cottage Gardener. I also have a lot of seeds from a Canadian company. They're called Hawthorne Farm. And I like them because they're all heirloom varieties. And I just believe that if you're going to grow if you're going to grow organically, then heirloom it just goes hand in hand with growing organically. So I always try to choose heirloom varieties. Now, not all the seeds I grow are heirloom, but I try to usually only purchase the heirloom. And if I can't find, you know, like cabbages, for example, that's heirloom, then I'll do the hybrid variety. But I really like to get heirloom because I just think it goes so hand in hand with growing organically and preserving those old seeds. So I think that's the best way to go about it. And then my Caribbean sweet peppers that I started a few weeks back, they're ready to go into a bigger container. So I'm gonna fill these, and I'm gonna put about 3 or 4 peppers in here. These are again just gonna grow out for the next like 3 to 4 weeks before we plant them in the garden. And I only have 4 of these Caribbean sweet peppers, so I'm gonna get them in here. And there we go, we've got our 4 tiny little peppers in here. They're so tiny. What I'm gonna do now is plant some beefsteak tomatoes. And I'm gonna do a bunch of tomato seeds in here. And this is just how I do my starts. Just fill this with tons of seeds, and then once it gets closer to the planting date, then I can separate them and plant them. So if you want to do these in little cell packs or little trays like this, you can use this as well. This is what I use to start the first set of seeds, like the peppers and the cabbage and the broccoli. But I'm gonna start my tomatoes just in this, and then once they grow big enough, I just literally just pull them out and transplant them. I just find that so much easier for me. And it takes up a lot less space. Some of the roots do get a little bit intertangled, but honestly, tomatoes root so easily that really doesn't even matter. You can rip a tomato out, pop it in water, and the roots grow in a few days. So don't worry too much about that. You can see how fuzzy these seeds are. And these are quite old seeds. We bought these seeds so many years ago, but we don't plant, you know, lots and lots of vegetables. We only plant maybe 5 or 6 tomatoes of each one that we like. So maybe like 3 of each variety. And we usually only do 2 to 3 varieties. And then I usually get enough to do everything I want to do with them throughout the season, because once these get going, they produce a lot. I'm just gonna do about 15 or so seeds in here. Trying to space them out a little bit, like I don't want them on top of each other. Just gonna cover them with a little bit of the potting mix. Make a little label for that. And as I'm potting up, I'm labeling right away, because you might forget if you pot up too many. So beefsteak. So just label as you go, and then you won't forget what you've already done. All right, so beefsteak tomatoes. I have some flowers in here. I have a St. John wort and a couple of foxgloves I see just popping up. So, and then I'm gonna just get these on my heat mat, and then with the light on top of them. So once they start coming in, the light will be right there ready to go for them. So we've planted everything we need to plant and pot up for now. So the foxgloves I planted a little while ago are still not germinated, but it does say that it could take 3 to 5 weeks to germinate, and it's probably been about a month since I started these, so it still can take another 2 weeks for these foxgloves to germinate. So wish me luck. I hope it all goes well and I do get some foxgloves by the end of spring. So just make sure you're starting your seeds at the correct time, and that you're not planting seeds when you shouldn't be. So make sure you look up your last frost date. You can just Google that last frost date and enter your city or your town on Google, and it'll let you know when your last frost date is, and then you can just count backwards to figure out, okay, well, it says that these beefsteak tomatoes will take, I have to plant them about 6 to 7 weeks before bringing them outside, which it's about maybe 4 or 5 weeks before my last frost date. So that lines up pretty well with this. So as long as you're, you know, close to that date of your last frost date, you can start your seeds based on what it says on the package. So just make sure you read up on that. And if you don't have the package, or you don't have the instructions written on your package, you can just do a quick Google search and it'll tell you, you know, start peppers this many weeks before your last frost date, because after your last frost date, it means now these can safely survive outside without the risk of frost coming in and freezing and killing all of your seed starts, which would be absolutely devastating. In 2021, I put my plants out early, like maybe 2 weeks early, and then we had that last frost and I lost all of my cucumbers, and I had to direct seed all of my cucumbers a couple years ago. So lesson learned, don't start your seeds too early, because even if you start them like a week or 2 later, you'll still get a good harvest. It'll just be a week or 2 later for your harvest. So it's better to start them like a week or 2 later, just in case that last frost creeps up on you and then you lose all of the seeds you started. Some of the things I'm going to direct seed this year will be my bull's blood beet. I also have another beet, the Chioggia Guards Mark beet. I like this one because it has the nice stripe, pink and white stripes on the inside. That's probably one of my favorite ones to grow. I'm also gonna direct seed some of my, next week I'm gonna start all of my cucumbers. This one is from Mackenzie. It's just a seed company. And this one is not National Pickling Cucumber, but I'm gonna start my cucumbers maybe a week from now because they grow so fast. Same with the watermelon. They don't need to be started until about 4 weeks before my last frost date. So I'm gonna start these probably in about 4 or 5 days. I'm gonna start these two because they grow pretty quickly. Same with the pumpkins. I'm gonna grow another batch of pumpkins from what I grew last year where they were so nice. I also have a Shintokia cucumber. This is a long cucumber. Oh, and then I have some other vegetables, other like herbs, like dill seeds that I collected from my dill last year. And they go to seed so quickly, and the seeds germinate so quickly and they grow really fast. So I'm just gonna direct seed those, and as well as some of my flowers that I have here. I'm gonna direct sow these mixed flowers here as well. I also have some easy sow broccoli that I can sow whenever, basically. The broccoli, like I said, is a brassica, so you can start them earlier and bring them out in your greenhouse a little bit earlier than the others because they won't succumb to frost as quickly. But as long as they're established, you don't want to bring them out when they're tiny little things. They have to be well-established plants. And then I'm also going to direct seed some turnips this year. I've been growing this type of turnip for 3 years now, and I like it. It's very cold tolerant. It's called the Swedish turnip, and I really just like this turnip. And that's pretty much what I'm going to grow for the year. I might direct sow some carrots and some other things like that, but that'll come a little bit later. But for now, these are all the seeds I'm going to start. And I'm really excited because now everything is potted up, ready to go, and we're getting so close to gardening and just the warm weather, and I just thrive in the warm, so I'm so excited. Are you guys excited about summer? Are you as excited as I am about the warm weather? And what's your favorite thing to do when the weather starts to warm up? Let me know, and let me know what other ingenious plant starts or plant hacks you guys like to do around your house. Even if it's something simple, I'd love to know. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you learned something today. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay peaceful.